Greetings, MUCT 105L, Class Intro to Theory, Ear Training. This is your remote lecture for week 6. Okay, today we're just going to go over a couple of things in the Berkowitz and the Kazez books. Let's start off by warming up on the 4 scales that we have already learned. And let's do them like we did in last Friday's class, in order, straight. We'll start with major, go to natural minor, to harmonic minor, and to melodic minor. If you need to, check your notes to remember which of the minor scales is which before we go ahead and sing this. You may do so. You can just go ahead and hit pause. But let's go ahead and warm up on these 4 scales straight in a row. All right, 2, 3, 4. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, le, te, do, te, le, sol, fa, mi, re. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, le, ti, do, ti, le, sol, fa, mi, re. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, te, le, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Excuse me. All right, so I'll take care of that. If you feel you want more warm-up time, or you want to go over those again so that you really know them, you can pull the slider back about 45 seconds and do that as many times as you like. All right, but for now, let's go ahead and go into the Berkowitz book. Please open the Berkowitz book up to page 15. We will continue a couple of new things that we looked at the other day. Remember our little talk about different clefs? We will be singing today in the alto clef. And remember the little notch, which used to be a C, tells you where middle C is. Okay, so we will be in the alto clef today. On page 15 in the Berkowitz, beginning on number 51. On number 51, as you can see here, 4 sharps. Okay, so that tells us we are either in E major or C sharp minor. And the first and the last note are E. So we can probably take it to the bank that we're in the key of E major. I'll go ahead and roll the key of E. All right, and our first note is Do. Notice we have somewhat of a broken chord here. We have a broken chord here. Because we go down, do, sol, do, which is a gesture by itself, and then do, sol, do, another gesture, just in inversion. Do, sol, mi. Okay, so these are the broken chord gestures that were in our gestures handbook. This is kind of where we're seeing them. We'll take a nice, it says allegro con spirito, but let's just take it more adagio. Make sure that you make a contrast between the staccato portions and the more legato portions. 1 and 2 and do, sol, do, sol, do, sol, mi, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, ti, do, sol, do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do, re, do. All right, let's move on to number 52, which is in the same key. Here we see the broken chord done kind of like it was in the second measure of number 51. All legato here, and we have the contrast is by the dynamic markings between the first half and the second half of this one. So make sure you sing mezzo forte and then piano. 1 and 2 and 3. Do, sol, mi, do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, mi, right, turn the page and we'll do one more. We'll do number 53, largo. Okay, have a look at this one. See, there are 4 flats in the key signature. That indicates either A flat major or F natural minor, since there are no accidentals. And as you look, even though they're an octave apart, the first note and the last note are both A flat. So that is the key that we are in. I'll go ahead and roll A flat for us. The upper octave might be easier to hear. Do, do. Choose whatever octave is comfortable for you. If you want to go to do, do, you may as well. I'll do the lower one. Okay, as you can see, there are 2 parts to this, or you might say 4 parts. Those things that are bounded by the ties across bar lines. You can see that where the piano is resembles somewhat where the first forte is. So this might be a 2-part kind of question and answer with the beginning of each somewhat similar, a very common way to do it. Do, largo, slow. 1 and 2 and 3. Do, sol, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, ti, do, mi, sol, sol, do, sol, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, mi, fa, re, re, do. All right, it's a very beautiful one. All right, that's enough of that for now. Actually, let's go ahead to the Kazez book. Let's go to the Kazez book. Got a couple of things to talk about here. Open up the rhythm reading book. We did spend some time in last Friday's class doing the first level subdivisions. Let me just remind you again so that we know of what subdivision in compound meter is and how it differs from subdivision in simple meter. Okay, in a simple meter such as 2/4, you have a unit of the beat, in this case the quarter note rather. And when you want to divide into the first level of subdivision, we do it into 2 parts. Okay, that is the essence of simple subdivision, is division of the first order of subdivision down from the beat into 2 parts. In compound meter, we have the unit of the beat. In this case, what is done practically in the real world is the dotted quarter note. Let me make those dots a little more apparent. They kind of look extraneous there. Here we go. And we divide the beat into 3 parts. Gives us the triple subdivision. With that in mind, let's go to Kazez page 32. These are actually quite easy. These do not even involve subdivision, but we skipped these on Friday, so let's make sure we get to them real quick. Page 32 in the Berkowitz book, number 37 there at the top of the page. 12/8 time, which is 4, as practically done with the beat being the dotted quarter note. All right, I will count 4 beats to get in. Notice here, though this is quite easy, there are a number of differences as far as dynamic levels are concerned, switching back and forth from piano to forte, and also ties across the bar line. So be careful to count carefully. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. T, 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 T. Okay? And number 38, the presto, 9/8 time, done in 3 in a triple, it's a triple meter in compound. Interestingly enough, 9/8, most of the meters, actually all of the meters, nearly all of the meters that we have in simple meter have one note value that will fill the entire measure. So even a simple meter as 2/8, in which 2/8 notes are the unit of the beat. To fill an entire measure, you need a quarter. Okay, and 2/4, a half. 3/4, a dotted half. 4/4, a whole. 6/4, dotted whole. Even an 8/4, a brev. We do not have this luxury at all times in compound meter, just due to the nature of the note values. The note values that we have are much more easily divided into 2 than by any other factor, but since we don't have any way to divide a note into 3, or not a typical way to divide a standard note without the use of a prolongation dot into 3, we're stuck sometimes. So we're lucky in 3/8, a dotted quarter will do it, that's fine. In 6/8, a dotted half will do it, and that's great. And even in 12/8, a dotted whole will do it. But in 9/8, there's nothing. There's no number of dots that you can use to make it fill the complete measure like you can in 3/4. So you have to, as you see at the first measure of number 38 in the Kazez book, you have to tie 2 together in order to make a complete measure. Okay. All right, but let's go ahead and perform this one. In 3, watch out, there's a crescendo near the end. 1, 2, 3. T, 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 T. T, 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 T. T, 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 T. All right. Now let's move over a page to page 33 and observe number 42. Now we are talking about the second level of subdivision, kind of the tiki-tiki level that we use. So the second level, of course, we know in simple meter, first level of subdivision, at the level of the beat, divide it in half, and we have the second level of subdivision. Divide it in half again. Sorry, first level of subdivision, second level of subdivision, divide it in half again. Third level of subdivision. Divide it in half once again. Okay, so we're just dealing with variables of 2. Divide in half, divide in half, divide in half. Interestingly enough, compound meter is similar except at the first level of subdivision. So it's not compound all the way down to kind of the logical conclusion. It doesn't do something like this. We don't have, say, 3/8 time, where the beat is divided, of course, into 3, and then divided into 3 again. Okay. This is not the case. This is not the case. You could do that, but you'd have to do this. Okay. But not naturally occurring. Okay, so it's not 3 all the way down. So the first level of subdivision is into 3 parts. The second subdivision is taking those 3 parts and then dividing them by 2. And you'll do that all the way to the bottom, down to 32nd notes, to 64th notes, to 128th notes, as far as you want to go. Okay, so the difference between compound meter and simple meter is only at the first level of the subdivision. Afterwards, it divides into 2 as before. All right, so in page 33, number 42, we did this one. Actually, I believe on Friday. No, we didn't on Friday. This is new. Okay, page 42. We'll just feel that 3 and just fill it full of the tiki-tiki-tikis as long as it lasts in the beat. Let's try it. I'll give you 2 subdivided measures. Here are my subdivision. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and T, 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 tiki, 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 T. Tiki, 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 T. Okay, so very much similar to what we've already done in simple meter. Let's try number 43, and that'll be the last one we do this time. All right, it's combining, of course, levels of the beat, single and double subdivision. So we'll go nice and slow just to get used to it. Two measures, 1 and 2 and 1E and a 2E and a T, ticky 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 T, T T T T, ticky 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 T, T T T T T T T T T, ticky 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 T, ticky 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 T T T, T T T ticky ticky ticky, T ticky 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 T, T T T T, ticky 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 T. All right, so we'll enjoy some more of this on Friday's class, where we'll go on to number 44 and start splitting the beat up into different layers with single subdivision and double subdivision. Okay, we'll see you then. Looking forward to it.